What's up, Fam of Liberty, and everyone else watching this video who's not following our channel for some inexplicable and mystifying reason? It's your new best friend, Big Sarge, or the artist formerly known as Admin Tim, founder of the Sons of Liberty, and Mikey. If you're new to our channel, then let me go ahead and get this out of the way. Fuck Donald Trump and fuck MAGA traitors. This ain't no safe space for bootlicking simps for a Wish.com fascist oligarch and a wannabe authoritarian tyrant. Now that you know where I stand on things, maybe consider following the channel after you watch the video. Up front, we're going to be ceasing operations on Twitter and moving to BlueSky. It's a big move for me because I pretty much manage all the other socials except Facebook, but I need to make an effort to do more there. I haven't decided to delete Twitter yet, but I'm definitely ceasing all operation. I'm going to be adding some new shirts and potentially some new hats to the Sons of Liberty merch store. Make Incels Afraid Again will be one of the new items, along with Make Fascists Afraid Again. I've also got a shirt coming that says, not ally, accomplice. And last time I did a Q&A, I mentioned the number of languages I speak fluently or passively, and someone said I should do a shirt called Cunning Linguist. If you have any suggestions for merch, leave them in the comments section. Before you do that though, I noticed some of y'all leave comments requesting stuff that we've already got in the store. So go to the store first and look through what we already have. It'll save you from Big Sarge giving you the old knife hand in the comments. A lot of you have asked for our take on Trump's cabinet and administration appointees. In typical cronyism fashion, Trump has appointed a lot of his supporters into cabinet positions, often to the consternation and disapproval of both his voter base and the rest of the Trump-Publican Party. And to be clear, the Republican Party is dead. The GOP is now the GTP, the gross Trump Party. So up front, just going to say what every halfway sane person in the US is thinking. We are so fucked. My personal opinion is that the reason that Trump is appointing a shitbag like Elon Musk is because Elon has the money to pay off all of Trump's fines and legal fees, which is some pretty big quid pro quo. My personal opinion on the rest of the appointees like Matt's the pedophile Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard is because Trump doesn't really have any sensible conservatives left in Congress who are willing to quit their very secure jobs and take on a role in an administration that proved its utter incompetence in 2016. If you remember, the first Trump administration had incredibly high turnover, and most of those people spoke out against Trump in the run-up to the 2024 election. There's literally no one left but the scum of the earth and the most batshit crazy, unqualified people who will pledge 100% loyalty. These people are the real DEI hires. Remember that old chestnut? Yeah, as always with Republicans, every accusation is really just an indictment. Most of these motherfuckers couldn't pass a criminal background check or even a security clearance background investigation. These motherfuckers are the equivalent of the heels at either end of a loaf of bread. You know, the slices that everyone looks at and then goes right past them. Nobody wants to use them unless they're absolutely starving, and that's the only thing left. And I'm gonna be honest, that euphemism doesn't even really work for me because I'd rather eat ice than the heels off of a loaf of bread. And I've been homeless. That's who these bottom of the bargain barrel motherfuckers are. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you, there is a significant part of me that's enjoying the Schadenfreude right now, with Trump voters shitting themselves into a frothing fecal frenzy at the mouth about his cabinet picks. All you motherfuckers that were like, "Hey, David, Genocide Joe," and "Kamala Harris didn't do enough to stop genocide in Palestine and she didn't say anything about it, so I'm not voting for her." Oh, and let's not even forget to mention Muslims who voted for Trump. This whole collective camp being super mad at the pro-Israel war hawks, lining up at the inaugural gate to hand Israel all the bombs, all the ammo, all the weapons, and all the money to wipe Palestine and Palestinians off the map. Like, if you didn't see that coming, then you are a fucking fool who nobody should ever listen to again, except to nod and say, yep, that there's a cautionary tale in leopards eating faces. That's right, fam. Mike Cuckabee, a self-described, unapologetic, and unreformed Zionist who went on record saying there's no such thing as a Palestinian, he's the new ambassador to Israel and has promised that on day one, Israel gets whatever it wants to finish its war in Gaza. Remember Elise Stefanik, the outspoken congresswoman who wants to withdraw from the UN if it won't stop getting in Israel's way? She's now the U.S. ambassador to the UN, and her new job description includes calling the shots on how much funding the U.S. provides to the UN. Don't even get me started on Jews who voted for Trump like, haha, yes, now we'll see Israel respected again, because there are white supremacists lining up to take cabinet positions, and those motherfuckers hate Jews. Remember Stephen Miller, the guy who believes in the superiority of the white race and eugenics but has less hair than my nutsack? This dude is younger than me by like a whole decade plus, and yet he looks like he's been rode hard, put away wet, and then rolled down a cliff in a rucksack. The guy who looks like the bastard love child of Pee Wee Herman and Heinrich Himmler, Let's call him Pee Wee Himmler. Anyway, he's returning as Trump's deputy chief of staff for policy, and with an unobstructed House, Senate, and Supreme Court, plus the implementation of Project 2025's Schedule F employees, gives them a lock on government staffing. Miller's already planning at upsetting Jews and Muslims who he hates, and let's not forget the Hispanic people who voted for Trump, but can just as easily be swept up in roundups just for being brown. And if you think they can't be accidentally deported or put into a camp since they're clearly citizens and since they voted, then let me remind you that we've done exactly that in the last 100 years. I think it's ironic that in just over a week, many Americans will be sitting down to celebrate a holiday commemorating a bunch of undocumented immigrants coming into this country, spreading disease and stealing and murdering the good people who were born here. And yet a lot of those same people celebrating, who are descended from those same immigrants, just voted for a guy who weaponized their internalized hatred of undocumented immigrants. Like, you can't make this shit up anymore. That's why The Onion isn't scathing liberal satire. It's a fucking reality now. Velveeta Voldemort, aka Fanta Claus, aka the rapist in chief, aka the melon felon, aka Putin's cuck, aka Russia's simp, has confirmed that he intends to bypass normal legal constraints on his actions by declaring a national emergency on his first day in office in order to launch his mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. Now, again, there are a lot of Hispanic people who voted for Trump who are now concerned that their relatives might be caught up in these deportations. And I will again point out that we've thrown American citizens in camps in the past 100 years, and we've accidentally, on purpose, detained and deported U.S. citizens in the past 10 years without ever providing them with a lawyer. Now, considering that we're talking about millions of people being rounded up and law enforcement agencies already are severely undermanned, I can assure you that our already incompetent government, which is about to turn even vastly more incompetent, is going to make mistakes. But remember, Trump voters, y'all voted for this shit. You fucking knew. You can't claim you didn't know. You were warned. Speaking of shit y'all should have known was coming, Trump's economic advisors are talking with Republicans in Congress about cuts to Medicaid, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, aka SNAP, which was formerly known as food stamps, and they're cutting other welfare programs in order to cover the enormous costs of extending tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations. Medicaid is the nation's health insurance for low-income Americans in long-term care. It covers more than 90 million Americans. That's 1 out of every 5 people. Rural populations, which tend to vote Republican, use supplemental nutrition programs more than urban dwellers do. So, y'all fucked yourself. So, for all of my fellow liberals out there, if you have run out of fucks to give them, then hey, you can have some of mine. Here, fuck. And yes, our collective eyes are angrily twitching at the thought of an anti-vax, anti-science person leading Health and Human Services. Admin V wrote Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott telling them that he is nuttier than her grandma's fruitcake and she had a yard full of pecan trees. Y'all, this guy says he's got a brainworm because he ate bad meat. The man traumatized his children by putting a whale head on top of their minivan. He left a bear carcass in Central Park. I don't think anyone should take advice from this guy. I mean, unless you want advice on how to alienate your own children. This man is dangerous. He calls vaccines poison. Vaccines aren't poison, and they save lives. If you don't think that, you can go fuck yourselves. Let's talk about the polio vaccine as an example. Do you know anyone in an iron lung? Do you know anyone who has lost mobility because of polio? There's a reason for that. That reason is vaccines. And if you say that they give people too many vaccines, fuck you. Childhood illnesses killed people prior to the advent of these vaccines. Yeah, the flu still kills people every year, but it kills way less than it did before vaccines. We don't want an anti-vax person leading the Department of Health and Human Services. People will die. I'm not joking. He is talking about ending research programs. He will get authority over recommending eating habits. This is dangerous. Please send an email to your senators. Actually, write a fucking letter and then send an email and also call them. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth, a mediocre Army National Guard officer, love you National Guard, with little experience in leadership who ended up being a Trump bootlicker and Fox News commentator. This is a guy that favors getting rid of women in combat roles and is now going to be Secretary of Defense, where he'll have the ability to enforce his warped views. Oh, and Hegseth is also currently undergoing an investigation by law enforcement for sexual misconduct, which he claims was consensual, so you know what that shit's about. So all you veterans out there, all of you actively serving people, if you or someone you know endured military sexual trauma, guess what? The rapist in chief is putting a sexual predator into the role of Secretary of Defense. And if you're one of the aforementioned survivors and you voted for Trump, well, Actually, let me stop before I say some mean-spirited shit that I can't take back. But since I'm on the subject, let's talk about drunk driving, underage girl fucking, creepy sexual predator Matt Gaetz, who resigned his seat as a congressman in order to take a job as the attorney general. Not only can Gaetz basically make any investigations into his conduct go away, but he also gets to run the Department of Justice. Now, that's if he gets confirmed. Apparently, Matt Gaetz is such a reviled piece of shit by his own party, and it's apparently an open secret that Gaetz is a drug-addled sexual predator to a point where no Republican congressman wants him around their wives and daughters. So it's long odds on them confirming Matt Gaetz, so if they somehow find the spine they lost and don't confirm him, he'll also be out of Congress too. But he'll still have a gig at Fox News. There are a lot of other controversial picks that I could rant about, like Russia's simp Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence, or Trump 2016 failure and one of the prime contributors of Project 2025, John Ratcliffe, being selected to head the CIA, or the former director of ICE, aka La Migra, now taking over the totally made-up job of border czar. Tom Homan, one-time head of ICE, was once the principal architect of the policies which separated children from their parents at the border. Remember those conversations and memes and talking points about brown kids in cages in the scorching heat? That's the guy they're letting do all over again. Kristi Noem for Homeland Security. Let's review her qualifications. Governor of a non-border state for 5 years, she sent her state's National Guard to help with building the border wall using emergency and disaster funds, though she refused to send them out to assist with historic flooding in South Dakota, saying it'd be too expensive. She hosted a dance party for an orange octogenarian. She shot animals who were disobedient, smelly, or inconvenient to her, and is objectively a terrible person. And finally, I'm directed on behalf of admin Elo, who posted her first ever rant video to the channel, and I quote, "She is a phony who has morphed into the typical Trumpy bimbo. She wants me to post up before and after photos. So before Trump, and after Trump. Before, after. Yeah, she's the most qualified for this job, or at least the most qualified out of all the people Trump has nominated so far. But most of all, she'll do whatever he tells her to do because she's a 4-star bootlicker. So what's wrong with Tulsi Gabbard? It's just that she has no formal intelligence experience, and as someone who has a history of embracing disinformation, that she also seems like a bad fit for the position. That is, that lives depend on this person being able to tell the difference between good and bad information. She also has shown that she's willing to cozy up to foreign leaders of questionable... Actually, okay, you know what? She likes authoritarian dictators. She very publicly supports them and their lies. See why she's appealing to Trump? You also have to question a person who is a Democrat who served 4 terms in the U.S. House and supported Bernie Sanders for president in 2016, yet she's here now. She's a friend of RFKjr and a debate coach for Trump. I mean, this screams of illogical thought that is made up as she goes along. Maybe she has a brainworm too, so let's give her access to... No, let's put her in charge of national intelligence. She obviously has pledged 100% loyalty or she wouldn't be here. Just when you think that Mike Fuckabee has gone away and fucked off, turns out he still has some shit to fuck up. He's been nominated to be the ambassador of Israel. There's no mystery as to what he thinks about Israel and Palestine. I mentioned that earlier. As an evangelical Baptist with a lot of money and government contacts, he's visited that area many times, leading religious pilgrimages there. He said there's really no such thing as a Palestinian because there is no Palestinian state and he doesn't ever want there to be one. He advocates Israel taking over the entire area, including the West Bank, which Palestinians lay claim to as a future state. Pay no mind that 46% of American Jews support a two-party solution. Fuckabee is aligned with that 22% that doesn't. Clearly, Trump is of the same mind or he wouldn't have appointed him. So take that, pro-Palestinian protest voters who yelled fuck Joe Biden. You did not understand the assignment, and let's just see what happens next. Last thing I'm going to crack on is the Department of Government Efficiency, which is an Elon Musk creation that spells D.O.G.E, D.O.G.E. So for those of you not into memes, D.O.G.E is both a meme and a crypto coin. Dude is still trying to make money off the government, which conservatives usually complain about, except when it's them doing it. Anyway, the Department of Government Efficiency is so efficient that it takes 2 people to head it up. Elon Musk, the sociopathic billionaire supervillain, and Vivek Ramaswamy, a pharmaceutical entrepreneur, which is just a fancy word for big pharma bro. I wonder how he's going to get along with RFK, who apparently hates medicine, science, and health. Sir, you are eating my tripod, and I'm going to put you down, but if you get on my tripod again. Obligatory disclaimers. We've begun organizing local Sons of Liberty chapters by region. We're doing all of this on our Discord server because social media CEOs like Mark Zuckerberg and Apartheid Andy cannot deplatform us there or mute or censor our content. What's Discord, you might ask? It started out as a platform for gamers, but it's evolved to be something a whole lot more than that. You can hang out with the admins and the other fam of Liberty members. You can shoot the shit with us, fight with other angry liberals, learn about self-defense and home defense and arming yourself, get updates from our social media. On that note, our Discord can be ping heavy thanks to the webhooks that integrate our social media notifications, but you can disable those. And if you need assistance, let me know on Discord. The invite link to Discord is in the Throatpunch at the end of this video. It's also in the YouTube video description, and it's in the TikTok and YouTube channel descriptions. If you like the shirt or the hoodie that I wear in some of my videos, some of them, but not all of them, are available in the Sons of Liberty merch store, which is listed in the link tree in our TikTok and YouTube channel description. On YouTube, it's also in the video description. If you like our video content, then we'd appreciate it very much if you'd follow us on all of the other socials, whichever ones that you've still got. On YouTube and TikTok, we'd also appreciate it if you'd subscribe, like, and get notifications on our channel. It's a little bit of a different process on TikTok, but if you're on TikTok, then you already know that. You can help us extend our reach by sharing our video content on all of your socials. You can help us beat the algorithm by leaving us at least 7 words in the comments section. I cover 7 words quite a bit. It's not a George Carlin reference. You can go watch the other videos if you have questions on why 7 words is necessary for the algorithm. On that note, if you watch this video all the way to the end, the phrase, "I made it to the end, Big Sarge," is actually 8 words. So if you're an overachiever, go ahead and post that. Or if you don't have anything to post, go ahead and do that. 2 claps and a Rick. Big Sarge loves boobies. Woo! And now it's time for the Throatpunch! And Vivek Ramaswamy, a pharmaceutical entrepreneur, which is just a fancy word for big pharma bro. Wonder how he's going to get along with RFKjr, who apparently... Mikey, could you please stop with the tripod? I swear to God. And Vivek Ramaswamy, a fartist... Mikey, please stop eating my tripod. I think it's ironic that in just over a week, many Americans will be sitting down to celebrate a holiday commemorating a bunch of Mikey. If you hear all that racket in the background, that's Mikey. And last time I did a Q&A, I mentioned the number of languages that I speak fluently. I can't even fucking speak English right now. I love Mikey to death. He's a great little kitten. He's in the cat equivalent of terrible twos, running around tearing shit up a lot of the time. Doesn't want to be held, which is fine with me. What's not fine with me, though, is when I go to the bathroom and a little paw snakes its way under the door and I hear him meowing out there, driving me fucking insane whilst I'm trying to, But I can't let him in the bathroom because when I do, he just sits right at my feet or inside my drawers around my ankle and stares at me. It's like,